Sure. Good college baseball game there for really the entire time. I thought Ethan Darden gave us a good start, pitched 6 innings, pitched better than maybe his stat line showed. A couple home runs there off of Darden, but I thought for 6 innings he looked sharp. He only walked 1, got a lot of ground ball outs. Really, it was only two mistakes, and they both went out of the ballpark. And then from a pitching standpoint, Nick Clayton was a huge storyline. 3 up, 3 down, or 9 up, 9 down. But to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, thought really kind of gave us what we need in order to be able to walk it off, which was huge. Cam's big blast there in the 9th inning, did not want to bunt. Glad that worked out, but just didn't want to take the bat out of 2 of our best hitters' hands with Cam, and then they intentionally walked Cooper. But glad it worked, and he put a charge into it and did a great job. Caden Grice swinging the bat very well. You can tell he's heating up, and everything he's hitting is hard. And had 3 RBIs tonight, or 3 RBIs tonight. But just all in all, had some good contributions up and down, and I thought we pitched well and played defense. Even though we gave up 5 runs, it was maybe a little bit better pitching than what the stat line showed. But some timely hits, some good defense, just a good college game.
Questions for players?
Cam, you're having an incredible freshman season. How thrilling was that for you, and what was your mindset going up there to the plate? You were 0 for 3 tonight, which is a rarity for you.
Well, I got up there and I swung. I didn't think it was gone, so I was like, I should just get 2 out of the box and let Cooper walk it off. But it went over, so.
Was that the longest home run you've ever hit? Dead center?
Probably, yes, sir.
Nick, as Coach said, 9 up, 9 down, great relief performance for you. What was working well for you on the mound tonight?
Just a really good game plan by Coach Bellinger and good pitch calling, and then great job by JJ behind the plate too. To be a freshman, he doesn't play like one.
I noticed you pitching from the stretch out there with nobody on. Is that, I know a lot of relief pitchers will do that, but you were a regular starter last season. Was that an adjustment you made this season coming out of the pen?
Yes, sir. It was an adjustment Coach Bellinger and I decided to do, and just kind of stuck with it. More comfortable out there.
Cam, talk about Nick's performance coming out there and closing out those last 4 innings, and how you guys really needed that tonight.
He came out there, he shoved up there, 9 up, 9 down, did a really good job, and he needs to keep on doing that.
Cam, you started your freshman season, the 14-game hitting streak that ended a couple weeks ago, but what was that like for you? Was there any pressure? Was it in the back of your mind, like, hey, I've got a hit streak going, I got to keep this going?
No, sir. The coaches just helping me with my swing and getting in the cages every day, working with my teammates, just making sure we stay together and we get on base and score some runs and let our pitchers do the job.
Nick, what's the adjustment been like for you, just making the adjustment from being a regular starter last season to being a reliever?
It's been fun. It's fun coming in the back end of the games, more pressure, but we're just taking one game at a time right now.
Nick, talk about this week. Spring break week is sometimes a kind of a turning point for the team. You guys don't have classes. You get to spend all week together. Talk about what you guys' plan is this week and how that might help you guys going forward.
Just taking advantage of the time. Try to get better every day. It's fun tonight, but we got a big game tomorrow we need to win, and then a big weekend series too.
Cam, you grew up in South Carolina. I'm just curious, did you grow up a big Clemson fan? Was it always your dream to play here?
Most of my family went to Carolina, so I was a Carolina fan, but I love it here, so I'm happy I'm here.
What's that been like with the house divided? I'm sure they're supporting the Tigers now, but did you hear a lot about it from family, friends when you made your decision?
Yeah, they were just telling me, you pick where you want to go, we're going to support you wherever you go, and they're happy I'm here now.
What was the biggest thing that led you to make that decision, despite growing up a Carolina fan?
The fans here, the facilities, coaches.
Anything else for players? All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Go ahead with questions for Coach.
Coach, talk about how important it was for you guys to just only have to use 2 guys on the mound.
Yeah, anytime we can preserve the bullpen, especially in a 5-game week, these double midweeks aren't easy, never easy. So to be able to get game 1 in with only 2 pitchers certainly bodes well for tomorrow. But you know, we have to take the approach that we'll treat each game like it's the only game we're playing every week, and it's why we extended Ethan Darden, and it's why we extended Nick Clayton, and just feel like we need to, you know, get as much positive energy and momentum on our side. And so we'll do whatever we have to do in each game to come out on top and just treat each game like that.
Coach, you kind of let the Duke series slip away from you. You could easily swept that one. You go on the road, you got a road game tomorrow, and then your first ACC road series this weekend. How important was this one tonight to kind of build some momentum into that?
Well, it's exactly what we needed to do. We needed to get that positive feeling back on our side, and you know, the way you phrase that, we let the Duke game slip away. That's how it feels to all of us. You know, we had opportunities to win in each one of those games and just didn't capitalize on that. And that's not Clemson baseball, and that's not, more importantly, it's not the potential of Team 126. And you know, where we are up to this point, we've played a lot of close games. We've played a very tough schedule. It's all callousing our minds, and every one of these tight games and every one of these good teams we're playing is just repetition that's going to help us down the road. So I'd like to think that we won't continue to let those games slip through our fingers where we have the opportunity to take the game, and we just need to keep training that and keep finding the ways to do it. It's much easier said than done, but a game like tonight certainly gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of good, you know, good momentum going into tomorrow to Kennesaw State. But before we can start focusing on Georgia Tech, we've got a big one with Kennesaw State tomorrow.
You haven't had your starting pitcher go 6 innings very much this season like Darden did tonight. How much, I guess, did the struggles of the bullpen have to do with that, or is it just the extra game this week and want to preserve the bullpen?
It's a combination of things. You know, it was the second game this year where a starter's gone 6 innings. Austin Gordon just did it this past weekend for the first time, you know, in game 18 of the season. So part of it is building our starters up, but part of it is just a guy having enough success in keeping his pitch count low to where that can happen. And so we thought Ethan was throwing the ball well. Even the 2 mistakes both got hit out of the park, but only 1 walk and a lot of ground balls and a lot of good innings, and he was just throwing well, and we just felt like, let's just keep running him out there. And then the opportunity to go to Nick Clayton presented itself because it was a tie ball game. And, you know, Nick's been one of our go-to guys. He's had kind of a senior moment here where he wasn't doing that great in the fall and the preseason where his slot previously was, and he and Coach Bellinger worked a lot, and they dropped his slot. And give a lot of credit to Nick, being a senior, wanting to contribute, wanting to help the team in any way. He lowers his slot, he creates incredible run and sink on his ball, and he has been just a very effective go-to reliever for us. Hurt not having him for a couple of weeks early in the season, but every time he's out there, he does very well. And you know, just the mentality that he has, you know, I think that he'll continue to be very successful for us and be a guy that we count on heavily.
You mentioned just the 1 walk tonight. How much do you think the walks and hit batters have been a bugaboo for you guys in the games that you have lost?
Well, it's what happens after the walks and the hit batters, and you know, we saw that this past weekend. It was an error and then a home run, or a walk tonight and then a home run. And it's just, you know, being able to minimize those innings has been something that we've been preaching. And just because there is some adversity that hits, it doesn't need to be, you know, confounded, or whatever that word is, compounded.
Yeah.
And you know, you just can't let one negative thing just, you know, you just got to be able to shut it down. And so for the most part that happened tonight, but that's been what's got us in some of those innings where they've gotten away from us with previous opponents. We've seen it. We saw it in the Central Florida series. We throw a couple of bunts away and they end up with crooked numbers, and it's just something that's plagued us a little bit this season. So it's one of those things where, you know, the more you talk about it is the more we keep doing it. Do we not talk about it? So we just gotta, you know, just keep putting the guys out there like Nick Clayton that are going to put zeros up and, you know, really put us in a position to have success and win the ball game. And, you know, we're finding those guys and those pieces, and you know, get some late game heroics too. It's, gives us some good momentum going into tomorrow.
You mentioned not wanting to take the bat out of Cam's hands there. I guess a lot of coaches might have thought about it, but how much, I guess, if it's not a guy like Cam hitting as hot as he has, would you have considered bunting him over?
Yeah, so just trying to think like 3 hitters ahead. So if we would have bunted Cam there, they would have walked Cooper, and then they had a submariner in the pen to face Willie Taylor. And obviously Willie Taylor, we have all the confidence that he would have walked it off too, but just didn't feel good about taking the bat out of Cam and Cooper's hands. But yeah, I mean, we bunted with a runner on first and nobody out to start the inning. So we would use the bunt in certain situations, and we used it with when JJ walked, we pinch ran for him and then bunted with Ben, and luckily for us, Ben laid down a perfect bunt and turned into a bunt base hit. But just didn't feel like calling it again with Cam just because of the ripple effect of that decision.
Sorry if you've been asked this recently, but what's the status for Ammons right now?
Yeah, it's all right. He's started a throwing program this week, and looks like it'll be a couple-week progression, and we're looking at getting him back after the Wake Forest series. We're hoping to get him back that week of the week we play Notre Dame, somewhere in mid-April. Hopefully by then, and that's assuming all goes smoothly. And but he's progressing. He feels good, and we're lucky it was something that was more muscle and not ligament. So you know, it's the timetable we've expected. A couple weeks out, a couple weeks to build up to come back, and when he does come back, we'll use him on the back end instead of the front end.
Anything else? All right, thank you guys.